Hello, everybody.
Hello,
Hello,
hello.
everybody.
Hey, you know what? Before everybody's joining us, I'm gonna do this really funny thing. I never did this before, but I'm gonna do a selfie with you guys. Hi. I'm gonna do a video with you guys. It's a video. Okay, so it's a video. Hello.
Hello.
Live with Melissa Cross on Zoom. Join
Woo.
us. All right, gonna post this now.
Okay, cool. You're so fast.
Hello. Hi,
Hi,
Nora.
Nora.
Nora is a big Infected Rain fan, very big Infected Rain fan from Luxembourg.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, or Luxembourg.
Cool.
I don't know how to say that correctly.
Cool. I'm going to pull up a chair and get my coffee here. Let's get down to some questions.
Get coffee.
We're going to let them give it a little bit of time
for the questions to pop in.
so people can come in, so the software can catch up. Let's see. All right. I got my chair. Haha. Chair.
Perfect.
Coffee.
Hello, people.
Yes, it's okay to drink coffee and sing.
I think coffee helps very much, but I am just, lover of the coffee.
Yeah, me too. But I say anything helps if you think it does.
Correct. Okay, so everybody, I'm posting this. This is super funny. Okay.
Cool. Okay. So yes, Nora, we are good. Thanks for telling us we're beautiful. I know Lena's beautiful, but I don't get that often. Not as often as she gets it.
You are the most gorgeous woman I ever met, Melissa. And I hope you believe me.
I have a nice personality.
No, you are very beautiful.
All right. So, wow, here we are. Yay. Look at this nice big crowd. Hooray.
Yeah, we have nice.
So here's, I'm going to ask everybody this time. We get one question because a lot of people we left behind, and we only have an hour today because I got a busy day today teaching. So I want you to ask your question. If you need to come on to answer the question, we will put you on. But if there's any time that it takes for you to get your camera up, we might skip to the next one. By the way, your microphone and your camera are in the lower left-hand corner. Okay.
Join us, guys. Join us, everybody. Today is a very beautiful Saturday. It's super sunny here in Las Vegas. How is it over there for you, Melissa?
It is partly cloudy. It's I'm in Texas today, and it is always hot in Texas. It's not quite hot yet, though, because it's usually around 4 o'clock. It's 90s already.
Oh, that's
in New York, it's snowing.
I saw that today. I was about to bring that up. Where are you, Khalil? Is it snowing where you are?
No, I'm in Texas too. I'm in El Paso, Texas.
Oh, okay.
All the way.
It's warm.
Warm. I like it warm. Well, and you know what? To bring it to the vocals, I will say stay warm. If you want to keep your voice very safe, stay warm.
Yes. So can everybody see us? Or I have somebody that's having trouble with seeing us. Can everybody see us? Say yes. Somebody say yes.
Somebody say yes.
Yes. Okay, good.
Yes. I saw one no, but I think that person has issues with its own internet or computer, because everybody else seems to
everybody did. Yeah. Yes. Woo.
That's a lot of yeses.
Yes, there's a lot of people here. All right, let's get going. All right.
I'm ready.
First question is by Neil. They're asking, how do I know if I'm straining or damaging my voice when I'm screaming?
How do you know? Okay, so Lena, what do you think the answer is to that?
You feel it. Right away. If it feels wrong, it's wrong. If it hurts, it's wrong. If it makes you cough, it's wrong.
Yes.
That's pretty much it.
If it makes it feel like you need a glass of water immediately, or if it makes you feel like you're breathing in and the air's not going in, that is like the first sign of during a set that you're getting swollen. All of a sudden, you're in this kind of panic mode because you're getting tired, And then all of a sudden you're breathing and it doesn't feel like any air is going in. So that is a sign that you are going to start talking like this in a few hours. Because you don't go hoarse immediately. You don't go hoarse immediately. It takes some time. And hoarseness is swelling. So the reason it sounds like this is because your vocal folds get so puffy that they don't close and they go, right? So when you hear that cracky thing, guys, if your falsetto's gone, ladies, if your upper voice, when you go, it goes, that means that you're swollen. What do we do for swollen vocal folds? Lena.
Get up.
Shut the F up. You're right.
Shut up. Or a lot of rest. And hey guys, don't get me wrong. I think everybody, even people that got it, even people that know what they are doing, sometimes they do these little mistakes. I do for sure. I don't know, maybe I'm one of the few, but it still happens to me sometimes when I'm on tour because of some, I don't know, equipment problems or a lot of like personal things going on that overwhelm me and I just forget the control of my own body. It happens sometimes that I am overworking my vocal cords, and it happens that especially my speaking voice gets a little bit like more lower and like it's like not my everyday speaking voice. And then what I do is I get away after the show right away in bed, right like this, don't talk to anybody, rest, a lot of water, and everything is going to be fine. Just remember to, as soon as you feel it, as soon as you understand something's wrong, just stop yourself there, you know.
I agree. And also, if you have, like, you can't stop in the middle of a show. Yeah. However, do not get what I call, pardon my language, the fuckets. Because sometimes there's such a panic when you're getting tired that you just like say, F it, I'm just going for it. I'll fix it later. Yeah. Don't do that. Just relax. You know, maybe I've had this great idea for a long time is you could ask your band to do a jam for like just 2-minute jam, like between songs, so that you can be silent and recover. Because once you start to feel it, you can stop the madness if you shut up for just 2 minutes. You just let the blood come back into the vocal folds. It comes back even stronger. But if you keep hammering it, you go to the place of, well, it's not no return, but it's return that takes hours of reduced swelling. Just think of it as like a sprained ankle. If you sprain your ankle and you walk on it, it doesn't get well. If you stay off of it, it gets well. These are muscles, vocal folds, but they're only 2 to 3 centimeters big.
Small little babies, let's take care of them.
Yes. So that's a good question. But don't get worried about straining yourself, because you will strain yourself if you're worried about straining yourself, because you'll pull back. You'll say, oh, I don't want to go all the way. And then you'll have the wrong ratio of breath pressure and vocal fold closure, which is just as bad as overdoing it. So don't be too precious.
And I want to add to that, while being in the band with my boys, although they know me for so long and they've seen me, learning and changing my vocal techniques and everything, I had to talk to them and be like, guys, if you hear something is on with my voice or something, stop being there and what's wrong with your voice? What did you do? Or what the hell? Or something that gives me more pressure, mental problems, and it's going to be more difficult for me to deal with that. So I had to have a whole conversation for them, especially in the beginning. I was like, listen, I am not deaf. I can hear that something is wrong. Let me deal with that. This is my instrument. I'll deal with that. You put more pressure to me, because I start thinking that I am doing something, so bad, and I make you look so bad. And it's a whole chain of things. It brings more anxiety. So
absolutely.
You have to avoid that.
That is so important that you brought that up, because so many bands, so many singers deal with this with their band. And so I want you to think what you would feel if you were a basketball player and you sprained your ankle and your teammates were blaming you for getting it wrong. That doesn't happen in sports. It happens in vocals for some reason. I think that there's, and even amongst, you know, audience members and band and lead singers, like, oh, Mariah Carey, she can't sing anymore, or oh, that guy's like totally lost his scream, for like really catty stuff, like it's sort of judging people.
Yeah, we already deal with all the social media that keeps, you know, shitting on us. Let's speak properly, right?
Yeah.
Because haters are everywhere. But if the band members are supportive and they understand that, okay, if you say you got this shit, sorry for my French, take care of that yourself. That's it, you know?
Yes, and you do, by being silent.
Because you don't have pressure, and you meditate and you breathe out and take it slow. Because only you have control of your own body. They can't control your own body. They can only damage by giving you anxiety.
Exactly. Anxiety makes it worse, particularly because you will pull back. Instead of having that nice, like, whoa, flow, you go, you know, like you half-ass it, and that's even worse. Yeah. So either do not speak, do not sing, do not scream, or use full good technique. But there's no half, there's no coddling, like precious, like, okay, I'm gonna do it like this to save my voice. That doesn't save your voice, does it? Makes it worse.
Yep.
So that was a good question. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Yes, one towards Lena. It's by, I don't know how to pronounce this, Uros Podgersik. They're asking, regarding Infected Rain, will the Europe summer tour happen now with all problems regarding COVID-19?
Guys, I'm going to answer this question real fast, but this is about vocals. And please make your questions a little bit more connected to the music, okay? I'm going to have tomorrow a live stream on Infected Rain's Instagram with my guitar player, and we are going to answer all the questions regarding Infected Rain and our touring. So to save time, for now, we don't know. Things don't depend on us. Fingers crossed. For now, I don't have an answer for you, but stay tuned, and everything is going to be posted as soon as we have answers.
Yes. We're going to have lots of fun in the meantime.
Yes.
While the thing goes away, we're going to stay busy.
Absolutely.
We're going to stay creative.
Absolutely.
And we're going to, like, the music's going to get through the quarantine. The music will not stop.
Never.
So we just have to figure out a different way to enjoy it for a little while. But if we got the love, we'll get through it, right?
Beryl Cadillac is asking, what are your recommendations to start fry screaming? I have some experience with mixed vocals. I had some lessons on classical singing. Now I want to add another technique, and I don't know how to start. Thank you so much. P.S. I don't know whether it could be informative, but my range is soprano.
Okay. So, Lena, what do you think?
It's really nice that people ask that, because actually it's a question that I get a lot personally, and I think what helps me switch and warm up properly in order to have my fry, I do the exercise that Melissa calls, that we're doing, like almost like using a straw but without the straw, you know, the and then go to the sound, you know. And I love that exercise very much. It's very annoying for people because it's super loud, but it helps me a lot. So I do all kinds of sounds. I like to call it like a horror movie opening door, or like a kitty, and I do that all the time. And then when you put sound to it, it helps. And you know, that's here you go, that's a good warm-up. But it goes all together with all the other warm-ups with me. So I have, you know, like a 15 minutes to 20 minutes warm-up, and I just do that in the end, and I'm ready to go, for me personally.
And the warm-up, the 15 minutes that you do doesn't have screaming in it.
No. Just
it's
normal
not necessary to scream in the warm-up. Like, it's doing a proper fry screaming. And if you're a soprano, you definitely need to be a fry screamer, without a doubt, because the other more, they're called supraglottal. That means above the vocal folds. The ones that are sounds that are created by constriction, as in like that feeling. Sopranos, tenors, those are the ones that get hurt faster because your vocal folds are lighter. They're smaller. That doesn't mean they're weak. It just means that because they sound that the way that they sound, because they have this capacity of being very effervescent and light and high, that capability can't happen if you grind it all the time. So there's some voices that are suitable for the false chord stuff and some that aren't. And sopranos and tenors, countertenors, those are the ones that get hurt the fastest. I suggest you come to class, actually.
Yeah.
It's store.melissacross.com. So I have every other month, I do these online classes. And basically, I start with your speaking voice on a Sunday. And then on the Monday, we get into the resonating strategies of singing, which is the same for fry screaming. And then in the Tuesday, the third class, we talk about different techniques of screaming. But this is not something you can learn in 5 minutes.
No, absolutely. It's something you learn. And then even when you think you got it, you still have to feel it.
Yeah.
It will take a little bit of time until you're like, yeah, I got it. It sounds good. But try to get through a set. You have to feel it. So it's like a whole process. And people that have a very good connection with their own body will learn faster for sure.
Yes.
People that don't listen to their bodies very well, they will have a hard time.
Mm-hmm. And listen to your body, what that means. That it's not like hearing it in your ears.
No, a feeling.
It's being able to go inside of your being and sense a localized experience. Now, when you experience the localized thing, that's not what you do when you perform. That's the way that you learn it. But then when it becomes second nature, it's not something that you actually sense anywhere, because when you're performing it, it needs to emanate out from you. So any kind of imploded energy of like, what am I feeling, will make you hold your breath. Any feeling that says, what is happening, or how do I sound, or any kind of intellectual process will stop your breathing, which will stop the sound.
Because you're doing too many things at the same time.
Yes.
But basically what helped me switch and stop thinking about how I sound was imagining. So I would draw these pictures for some of my songs, especially for more difficult parts that I thought were difficult for some reason. And then after a few shows, I'm like, I can't believe that was an issue.
Yeah, it's like, exactly. Oh, it was that.
Yeah, I was like, what? I used to have problems with this part. I can't fucking believe it. But anyways, I draw this like images in my head. And then when I'm on the stage, you will see me very often do things with my hands or like even dance. It's because I go through that image. Like, especially in some moments, it's like almost necessary. And sometimes you will see me at different shows doing the same moves. It's not because I have moves prepared for the show. But no, it's because it helps me go there. Because, you know, if you think about the high sound being somewhere very far you can't reach, of course you won't reach it. Exactly. So just change the picture, you know, make it be from left to right. You know, I learned that from Melissa, and she saved my life.
This is the thing, when you guys are kids, right? You go on the playground and you pretend things and you make sound effects like or like or whatever. You don't think about it.
Nope.
Your voice is so perfect at doing exactly what you mean. So to think about anything, you're going to interrupt that holy connection. That's what bad vocal training does, is it makes you start to think about, do I do this? How do I do this? It's all about coordinating the muscle parts by becoming aware of the muscle parts, doing exercises that coordinate it. And then you're capable of the very nuanced. And I mean, like, this is subtle. Like, fry screaming is a subtle thing. It feels like nothing. It's like teaching somebody how to sneeze. It's very hard to teach a sneeze.
Yeah, I know. How would you do that?
Exactly. It's like, how do you teach somebody how to have an orgasm? You can't.
Ooh, hey, don't bring that up. This is a different class, Melissa.
I know.
I love you so much.
Yeah, and then people go, "Oh, that feeling? Oh, I didn't know that's what it was called." You know, it's one of those things.
Yeah, exactly.
So, there was a question back here that I thought was interesting. Wow, there's so many questions. Okay. So it was someone talking about mids. How do I get my mids? How do I work on my mids?
Which
Okay.
is
So
what exactly?
I think they're
So
talking
they
about,
were asking, do you have any tips for learning mids? My strengths are lows and death growls. I've been trying the rainbow exercise. I'm struggling with being loud.
okay. So the rainbow exercise, are you talking about the rainbow from the first DVD? Or you're talking about the C exercise in the second DVD? I'm not sure what the rainbow, but
They said
I just
yes
want to,
Yes.
to the first DVD.
the rainbow exercise from the first DVD is not about screaming. That is not about screaming. That is mostly about singing. That exercise was formulated for people that sing instead of be. So a lot of people come into class with a lot of training, especially classical training, and they do all these things, extra things to sing, to sound good. And that is what the rainbow exercise is for. Because when you imagine a rainbow going, whoa, and you draw an arc, right? You don't think about the sound, you think about drawing, whoa. And that is a onset or a launch. And every sound you make, whether it's screaming, singing, speaking, needs to have that freedom of, oh, that instead of, that kind of constricted thing. So the thing about the rainbow exercise is that it's not for the screaming. And the other aspect I wanted to address is when you think about lows, death growls, and you think about it as low, like on the floor, not on the ceiling low, you're in big trouble. That's why you're not getting the highs, because the highs involve a tighter vocal fold. It requires more breath pressure. And when people think my highs, they think up there and they reach up the larynx. Because remember I said on the playground, you don't think about it. But when you think about I'm going for a high note, the word high makes you go up there to reach it. And that's exactly how you don't get it, because you take away the resonating strategy. So highs, mids, and lows in fry screaming are accessible because of the back of the throat being like singing. Yee, ooh, yee. I could do that with fry screaming. When there's constriction, like that, you cannot have that open in the back because you're too constricted. So trying to be loud ever is the wrong thing to think about. Loud is a perception. It is not an action. So if you think loud, you're going to get screwed. Because
and I invite everybody to see our first part. It's on my YouTube channel, guys, because we actually really talked very detailed about that. Melissa explained how being loud can really, like you thinking about being loud can really damage and ruin a show for you. So if you want to know more, there's a lot going on over there. Because don't forget there's a microphone, and then there's like the monitors and the front of house. You're gonna be loud, don't worry. You do your thing and then let the sound engineer work with you.
Yes, and you need to access the upper frequencies that are in the shape of your throat.
Yeah,
that is what creates loud. It is more high frequencies. High meaning squealy. That is louder to a human than and when you have a bunch of band members competing with the low stuff, it gets buried. But if you have the low plus that high thing, it will appear loud to the audience. It's not about decibel level volume. It's about like an EQ. It's like, think of your throat or your face as like a mixing board, and your vocal folds is like a guitar, just with not plugged in. So your vocal folds are just doing, like guitar playing, right? But it's the mixing engineer or the board where they're boosting 5K, 8K, 20K, they're boosting frequencies, and that's how you hear the singing even on the record.
Yeah.
It's like creating the frequency like puzzle where the voice is like, has this in it and the band has this in it, and all together you could hear them in a mix. But anyway, it's go
if
ahead.
you have a good sound engineer that you trust and works with your band specifically for a while, you can even have a sit down conversation with that person. That's what I did. We have Simon, love him very, very much. He is in the band more than 3 years now, and he's been through hell because certain clubs bring sound engineers through hell. So it's their job for you to sound well. You can be Metallica, you can be whoever you want. If the sound engineer screws up, you're not gonna sound good, right? So now for my vocals, getting back to the vocals, I had to talk to him because we arrived to the point where it was not even really necessary for me to always be at the sound check, which is amazing technology. Thank you. Saved my life as well. But at the same time, sometimes my sound engineer will take my microphone, make a few sounds just to make sure in a monitors is good. Now I catched him screaming so loud and hurting himself. I'm like, Simon, listen, why don't you just talk in a microphone or make sounds, but at the same level you're talking? And that's how I want you to work with that. It saved his life too. So make sure you talk with the sound engineers. They are there for you to look and good at your best. And if they understand what you're doing exactly, they will make it right, you know?
Right. And so when you go to the mic and sound check and go check, 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 that's not a good it's not a good test. Because nobody sings like that.
No,
Nobody
exactly.
goes, sing. There's like a whole bouquet of frequencies that happen. And a good sound check is about mixing what's actually, organically there, making it happen so that, through electronics, it comes forth.
Correct. And I want to say, it's awesome if you're a headliner and you have a bunch of time to do your sound check and time to prepare. But if you're not, you have literally 5 minutes. Sometimes you don't even have time to actually put all the cymbals on the drum or plug everything in. Sometimes they open the doors when you're still on the stage. You didn't even make a sound. So trust me, it's stressful. It's very, the atmosphere, I don't think everybody understands what a musician has to go through on tour when he is opening for somebody, or or the second or the third band, not being headliners. It's a totally different tour.
Absolutely. Totally different. And so glad you brought that up, Lena, because they even have in riders, in contracts, that the opening bands cannot even play at a certain decibel level above there's a limitation.
Absolutely.
Because the headliner is loudest. Headliner is loudest. So no one can have like the kind of, they always like cater to the headliner sounding the best.
Majority of headliners do that. And I know it's not fair, but guys, if you work well together, if you have a good, trustworthy sound engineer, good equipment, calm down, breathe out, and everything is going to be way better. If you stress, it happened to us that we stressed so much, we thought we're not even going to play. We had situations where we had zero space for a foot on a stage because no drums were taken down, more than 3 bands. It was really stressful. I even broke my toe at that show. It was really stressful.
Wow.
But stressing doesn't help. What helps, it's work as a team, because you all are there for one reason. And if you're gonna stress for a vocalist, I know I get like that because I'm super emotional. I get this invisible huge brick in my throat, and that's it. How do you sing after this? How do you sing when you are under pressure, stressed, anxiety? You already have your own problems, and then you have problems of that day and so many things, right? And then people come to your show, people that never seen you before, and they don't know you have problems, and they're like, oh, this band sounds shitty. They don't know your problems. They don't know that you have issues or whatever. So it's
how do you think the warm up helps with that? Do you find that like the singing warm up and like going like all that sort of massaging your brain
is the only thing that saves my ass. The only thing. It feels like meditation, honestly. Like all this wee-wees, Mimi's, and Mickey Mouse opera, and all of them, it feels, and I don't care. I will go to a public restroom in the club, even if the people are already there. I will be in our van, in the bus. I don't care. I got kicked out, yelled at, hated on, because it's, it's annoying sound for somebody, but I can't go on the stage if I don't do that. It calms my whole brain down. It gives me, honestly, I believe in myself. Even though I'm on tour for 2 months and I know I'm going to sound good because I sang yesterday and the day before and the day before, I'm warmed up technically, right? But I do it because it gives me confidence.
Yes, the coordination. It's like putting everything together so that everything is easy to get.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's a feeling. It's a feeling. It's not a fact. It's a feeling.
I can only speak for myself, obviously, but I know Melissa had to deal with a lot of musicians, especially vocalists, and some of them huge. You guys all know about that. And some of them beginners. It makes no difference.
Yeah, it makes no difference. That's right. Everybody gets scared. No matter how famous you are, you still get nervous.
Oh, yeah.
Still human.
Still human. Okay, we have other questions?
Yeah.
Marion is asking, Lena, how long did it take you for you to really master your scream voice?
Oh, I'm working on it every day. I'm still working on it. Yes, I feel confident in what I'm doing. And yes, I love the way I sound. After a while, I started just enjoying whatever was coming out of my mouth, right? But I learn every day. I learn with every vocal exercise I'm doing with Melissa, with every meeting, with every conversation. And also I'm learning just with every vocal warm-up, because sometimes I can hear myself on my vocal warm-ups. I have it on my phone, just a few of them recorded by Melissa. So my own voice, I hear and I'm like, oh, I can't believe I sounded like that.
Well, your old recordings of you doing the warm-up is very educational. Because
Absolutely.
you will remember what your body felt like when you did it that way. And now that you do it in a much more improved way, you almost reinforce the journey that you've made. But I would say, as your teacher, that within a year, you started understanding the instrument as a combination of factors that create an image of this. It's not effort-based. Like you used to be effort-based.
Yes, correct.
The intensity of your emotional makeup was the catalyst to deliver your message, and you stopped doing that. Part of that was developing the muscle strength to coordinate things, because we work on exercises. But I would say that it was less than a year when you stopped. You still had some, going back to the efforting, but within a year, you had like the coordination. And then all of a sudden, like I closed my eyes, I opened my eyes, and I'm at a voice conference, and as someone comes up and says, how do I sound like this? And she puts on Lena's record, the Infected Rain record, right? And I go, oh, I know how to do that. I'm her teacher.
Oh, man. Well, nice. Well, good to know, 1 year might sound very scary for somebody, and they're like, I don't have that time. You have to take your sweet ass time, because everybody is different. Somebody can learn faster. Somebody can learn, it takes years and years. And as I said, maybe I did start sounding, better or more proper, but I feel like I'm learning every time.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you need to learn from, I'm not saying I'm the only teacher, but you need to learn, I'm not the only teacher, but you need to learn from somebody who knows exactly what is going on. I mean, the facts, someone who studies voice science. Because
and I want to add here that Melissa takes, what hooked me the most, Melissa, when we started working, that you actually played my music, my Infected Rain band music, and you studied me. You had a very unique approach to me, and I'm sure this is what you do with everybody. So that's why I encourage everybody to have a lesson with you, because everybody is so unique. You know, things that work for me might not work for you, or vice versa. Things, you know, like sometimes I get some of the, you know, bands that open for us asking me for advice or something like that, and I don't know, because I'm not a teacher. I can show you a trick or two, but that's it. Everybody is unique. A man is different from a woman, a different age, a different ethnicity as well. That ethnicity could work on you as well. I don't know. Maybe sometimes if you had a background of a lot of music studying, a lot of music knowledge, can work well or not well, because sometimes if your father taught you how to drive a car, let's say, I'm not saying your father was wrong, but when you go to an actual class to learn how to drive, the teacher is going to be, forget everything you know. Forget everything you know. And forgetting something you think you know is more difficult than learning something new.
Exactly. You can't forget. You have to replace.
Yes, and that's more difficult for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Right. I got loads of stories about that. So what else?
I bet.
Okay, so anybody got have a question? What do we got?
So many. Celine is asking, when I sing, I often feel like I get too much saliva in my mouth and I need to swallow it mid-sentence. Could that be because of breathing from the mouth?
Wow.
Never heard that one before. I heard dry mouth because of the breathing.
Usually it's dry because of the mouth being open and mouth breathing. But that's probably a medical condition that isn't harmful, but it's something that a doctor would explain. That is not part of the singing mechanism. The salivary glands is a different system. Yeah. The singing system is a respiratory and it's about respiration, but it's also about acoustic resonance. And so there's no salivation stuff that should be going on, but it might be for a particular person who has an overreactive salivary gland, you know, and that may not be harmful, but it's something, it won't hurt you. In other words, if you are hypersensitive about saliva being in your mouth, that could be the anxiety that's making you think that you have too much saliva. And, you know, it could be an oversensitivity. You're not going to choke. You're not going to choke.
Exactly. That's what I'm going to, I wanted to ask. If your saliva is thick, then you're dehydrated for sure, because it happens. Yes, yes. If your saliva tends to be like more thick, and I know for somebody it's going to be gross, but it's like, you know, it's thick. We all know what that is. Icky, yeah. Well, that might be you're not having enough water, because and you can't, basically you don't have too much saliva. It's that you can't really swallow it enough, and it's just always there. Your mouth is always like.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's just an idea. If it's not thick and you think you hydrated, then yeah, maybe you're just unique like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Hydration, salivate, very interesting. I learned from her. I learned from my students. Very interesting. Water is also important, because water in all of your body, you can't drink water. It doesn't go straight to your vocal folds. When you drink water, it systemically enters your bloodstream and then it gets into your vocal folds. So drinking a gallon of water before the show is not helpful. It just makes you burp. Right? So do not think that you're drinking or eating anything that passes your vocal folds. It does not. It goes into your esophagus, which is a different tube. They're right next to each other. Stomach, lungs, stomach, lungs. Water goes down into the stomach and does not go in the airway, or you choke to death.
Yeah.
So
maybe this is her concern, that, you know, but if you stop thinking about it, and when you take breaths while singing, don't take breath like, do this. It's just like, by the way.
The by the way.
By the way. Like, everybody should know what the by the way is from Melissa's DVD.
Yes, it's the by the way is a little sip of air that actually goes into a rib cage move, right? So that is, it's not a big because you don't need more air to scream. You need just the right amount that's manageable. So that's it. That's a good.
Well, I hope we helped
Hope you
a
helped you.
little, but I never heard about that. That's interesting. See,
Well,
new things.
I learned a lot from that question. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah.
Every day's a school day. All right. So I just wanted to say also about hydration. There's a padding that is created by liquids in your body. So the muscles, vocal folds are tiny, but they are muscle. And when they come together, they make sound like this. If there's no water in there, they hit harder because there's not like this kind of puffiness. So water is important for that. You need to lubricate like everything in your body, including your vocal folds.
Including your vocal cords.
Yeah.
And again, Melissa, this is not about that. It's a different lesson.
Yeah.
Stay hydrated, guys.
Cheers, Lena. We're going to
Perfect.
start a different kind of school, you and I.
I know, right? Sitting at home, isolated all alone, you bet we are. All right, guys. Next question.
Me, Valentine, is asking, how old were both of you when you first started screaming, and what got you into it?
Go for it.
Well, for me, I started with Infected Rain. It was 2007, late 2007, when we started just fooling around. We didn't even have a name for a band. It wasn't even supposed to be a band. It was just me, my guitar player, Vidic, that is still in the band, and our ex-DJ. They were best friends, and there was just 3 of us just fooling around, just doing some covers. I guess like the majority of the band start. I started then with them, just singing, and next thing you know, 2008, we started doing our own thing. Our first show was in 2008 summer. And yeah, that's when I started everything. But obviously, I started doing it more proper way later, probably around 2011. But I met Melissa that put me on a good path in 2013.
Right. So I started being interested in emotional freedom and singing when I was 13 in 1969. And there was Janis Joplin, and part of her persona was making sounds that sounded human and not like singing. And I was completely addicted and drawn not only to her sound, but her personality and the way that she delivered it. I tried to copy it, and I got hurt doing that. So I learned from healing myself and voice science how to make those human sounds to still feel real, authentic, and emotionally free without the accompanying aggression in these tiny muscles in the throat. So that's that. The screaming part, the real screaming part, a producer asked me to get a kid through a recording session. That kid happened to be Jesse from Killswitch Engage before they were ever signed in 1999. So that is how that started. It's been going on for a while.
And hey, you know what, guys? Now that Melissa brought it up, I will tell you a little secret. And you are the first people to know. On my YouTube channel, I didn't tell anybody, Melissa. It was a secret. On my YouTube channel, I started a new season in which I am having a nice conversation with people I love, admire, or just people I'm a big fan of. And Melissa being one, we recorded one for you, and we are going into such interesting details about that as well. And my next episode is going to be with Melissa, so stay tuned next week.
That's
next
awesome.
week.
That's awesome.
Week.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for the question. Khalil, what's another question?
Jessica Williams is asking, I find it difficult to use fry in actual sentences. I feel like I lose control of the sound when I pronounce certain consonants. Are there any good exercises to practice this? Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so the reason that you lose fry is a phonation. Any phonation that stays the same needs to stay like this, and it's like I'm chanting and I'm flowing and I'm flowing. So if you have any consonants that bump you into like something, you're going to lose it. It's about flow phonation, and that's about stability of the instrument. So there are many exercises in my warm-up and some like, it's about flow. That's what it's about.
It is. And don't think about it. Just
Yes.
do things. You know what helped me, by the way? I don't know if that will help you or not. I remember back in the days when I only had our very first exercise recorded on my phone, and I was like, how do I step over and stop listening to myself? How do I do that? So what I started doing is at home, while doing my vocal exercises, I started doing things to distract me physically. Like I would wash dishes or do something, obviously in a standing position. Don't do something hinged or something. Don't block this whole system, right? Something standing, distract yourself with something else while doing the vocal exercises. You will be surprised how fast you just forget about listening to yourself and everything goes so right. And you just scream. You make sounds and you're like, I don't know how I'm doing this, but I'm doing it fine. Or whatever.
And that's because you've trained the coordination of the airflow and the vocal fold thing. You've trained it in different exercises. And when you want to make that sound, you don't think about it. It happens because you've developed the muscle coordination to do a lot of things besides
because,
yeah.
Because if we think about it, guys, we do this every time. We do like, I don't know. Look what I just did. Everybody knows how to fry, but when we think about it, I can't.
Right. Exactly right. Right. That's exactly it. So to be consistent is about developing coordination, and it's not scream related. The exercises that make that thing coordinate also coordinates for singing and speaking as well.
Yeah.
It's not, there's not a special set for fry screaming. It's not a set thing.
No. The only thing that, I get this question a lot as well. It's more about, when you scream in key or when you want to scream in lower voice. This is also the position of your mouth, for me at least. So that's when you think about it, you learn how to do it, and then you don't think about it anymore. Because you're doing, like it's all with your mouth.
Yes, or the back of the throat, to be correct.
And the whole
thing. It's the way that you make vowels. So if you go inside your body and you pretend like you're going, oh, but don't do anything with your mouth, just like pretend you're like going, oh, with your mouth open, but just think about what's happening at the back of your throat.
Absolutely,
it
yes.
Goes in the back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's these subtle things that if you think about anything, your diaphragm will stop. It will don't ever think about your diaphragm, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, but, I got this question one time. How do you know if you scream with your diaphragm or with your vocal cords? I'm like, wait, what? No. I know. Diaphragm just helps you with breathing, just gives you sustain, gives you control of your system. It doesn't make sound. Diaphragm is not a sounding machine.
Exactly.
Your vocal cords are.
Exactly. And your diaphragm works when you're sleeping, so it doesn't need your help. And there are other things besides the diaphragm that are in place here, like lung pressure. Like there's pressure in your lungs because your lungs have a pleural lining. And so there's this like squeegee kind of like lining that's doing this. That's also part of breathing. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on for breathing. If you think about it, it stops. Because you go to the part of the brain that goes, let me think, I'm not breathing. I go, what was your name? See, and it stops. The diaphragm, when you think, it releases its tension. It goes back to a rest position. And when the diaphragm goes back to a rest position, all the air comes out of your lungs and it's not part of your sound anymore. And then you have to use your throat.
You know what I just realized, Melissa?
What?
Thank you. This is the best. This is the best. I just realized that the reason why whenever people ask me to show them or teach them or whatever, I can't is because I have to think. I'm not a teacher, right? So even now, when I want to show something, I have to think about it and I will stop. Yeah. When I sing in my band, I know my words, I know my songs, I go on a stage, I go for it. It's my natural habitat. When I have to show it to somebody, it's like, wait,
yeah.
So it stops me. I will show them and then make a fool out of me because I won't show it even correctly. Because I'm not a teacher. It's a different science to be a teacher. So thank you, Melissa, for existing. The teacher, go to Melissa. Definitely, teaching is difficult. You have to think about it and then show. And I don't know, I stop when I think. It's because
everybody does, even teachers. Like when I first started teaching this, I was freaked out because these giant, tatted up metal people with all the, they were coming down the hallway, and here I am. Hello, hi, I'm Melissa Cross, and I'm thinking, this guy is not going to give me any confidence if I don't pull this off. And what if it doesn't come out? So I had to learn not to go. It's like I had to go, shut up, and go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it and not use the tension that they do.
Yeah. So don't ask me anymore to teach you. I don't want to be a teacher. I want to be a singer in Infected Rain.
You do that pretty well.
Speaking of teaching, Viviana is asking, are your classes only for screamers or focus on scream? I want to project more, but not screaming or growling.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So my 3-part class, it's at store.melissacross.com. It's a big class in 3 parts. The first part addresses the technique of everything in the context of your speaking voice. Same concept addressed in resonating strategies in the singing voice. And having had that coordination on the first and second part, the third part is how to do more extreme sounding effects using that same coordination. So the answer to the question is, it's one big class. You learn the basics and you do everything. Speak well, sing well, scream well. It's all the same instrument. It's a voice. It doesn't change. The voice, the machine doesn't change because the sound of you're making.
Yeah, it's not like a record player that you change the record player.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to listen to metal now. I put a different vinyl. No,
Yes.
It's your body is one and you are capable, believe it or not, but we all have our own unique sounding and that's it.
But your voice is the record player. It doesn't, it could play all different kinds of records. As long as it's working properly. That's the truth.
It is.
Good question. So what else? Who else has got a question?
This one's kind of interesting. Shahara says, my 3-year-old growls along to metal songs and sometimes just randomly, and he seems to be doing it effortlessly. And he has never complained about pain, but I have people telling me I shouldn't let him do it. Should I stop him? Is there any age limit for growling and screaming?
Okay, that's a very complicated question, right? Because kids do it well. Kids make monster noises. They do it with effortlessness, and that's because they don't have self-consciousness. They're not listening to their voice. They are in their imagination, right?
And don't stop them. Don't break that imagination. Let them be.
Yes, don't break it. But if your child is hoarse when they're speaking, then you do need to do some behavior modification, because if they're getting too over emotional and too much tension when they use the aggression of metal, because the idea of metal, right, that could make you do stuff that's not necessary, that overworks the vocal folds. Definitely if the child is hoarse, take him to an otolaryngologist, which is an ear, nose, and throat doctor that specializes in voice. And they'll give him speech therapy so he'll understand how to scream the right way, because he'll learn how to speak the right way. So one thing about ladies, right? For ladies doing, younger ladies, before the age of 18, there is a certain thing that you do not want to happen with the voice where it is unable to go, yeah, right? Which is what's formerly called head resonance or head register. That's not what it is. We know much more about what that is. But if you do not work all the mechanism, you can, because the tissue is soft, it can get stuck. And then you don't have like a top. You don't have this ability to put certain frequencies in your voice. Then you have to overuse, and then you have vocal injuries. When you're on tour, those are the people that get really hammered because their entire childhood they were yelling and belting without any coordination of that resonating strategy. So that's just a word of warning. It's not harmful if it's done properly.
I used to imitate sounds when I was small, very much. My mother told me about it pretty recently, like a few years ago. And the one I remember very much was the I used to play with boys and I used to imitate cars or motorcycles. Yes. And my next sister after me, Rosa, she had a problem saying the R for very many years. Yeah, she was, I think 4 or something when she would replace that letter with an L, and her name is Rosa, and she would say, my name is Loza. It was super funny, but I remember my mother encouraging me to do that sound with her all the time. And that reminds me, we are so much more capable if we stop thinking.
Yeah.
So just
that's
imitate
why
all the nice noises. Yeah.
That's why in my classes, whether it's online or in person, the whole basis of this is to see the sound, not hear the sound, see the sound, and listen to what you are feeling and seeing, not what you're hearing.
Yeah.
That is the whole transformation.
I was imagining being that car and I would be like,
yeah, exactly.
So I was the car. I was not the sound. I was the car.
You know what mine was? I had my 2 sounds when I was a kid, and I would do the Wicked Witch of the West from the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And
oh my God, that's perfect.
That coordinated that diaphragmatic like coordination, and also Woody Woodpecker. So it's this cartoon guy. That is a coordination that you cannot teach that. You can just do it by imaging Woody Woodpecker and be Woody Woodpecker, and the child in me can still be a child. That's what good training is. Bring you back to your kid.
Yes. That's why I love vocals. You do weird stuff, weird noises, and it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. So we have 2 minutes left. So we're gonna burning desires is what we're looking for. Khalil, can you pick the most burning desire for us to end with? And we should do this more, Elena, because very interesting conversation.
Thank you. I think so too. I'm having a lot of fun and I'm learning so much from you guys as well. So we are recording everything and it's going to be on my YouTube channel again, part 2. And if you want more, just let us know, put a lot of comments below that video and we will do more and more because, you know, we're in quarantine and we can for now, at least once in a great while. So sorry for, you know, the time flies when you're having fun.
I know, doesn't it? So we will do this. We'll do this on a regular basis. If you ask for it, this is easy. We can do this.
Yeah, I love it.
There are so many good questions, but I'm going to choose this last one. It's by Pick My Strings.
I know this guy. He's amazing. He's absolutely amazing.
Oh, hi. I know him too. I'm gonna do an interview with Pick My Strings.
Good. I did one too. He's a very interesting guy. Very interesting point of view.
Totally cool. Yeah. Very good.
Let's do it. What is his question?
Asking Lena, if you had a chance to go back to your first day with Melissa, what would you do differently?
Nothing. I had the best first exercise in the world. I remember being so nervous about it because, you know, I knew about Melissa already. I was studying her DVDs and I come from Moldova. I barely could order the DVDs. I had physical DVDs, so not the download from internet or anything. I was studying some of the YouTube videos from other vocalists working with Melissa as well. And when I got so lucky to actually have an appointment, I remember getting there too early even. And I was so nervous. My palms were like sweaty. But when I finally saw this beautiful, radiant person that hugged me right away, I was like, okay, I already was happy. And then I mentioned that before, we had a very long session and the time flew. It was 7 hours of communicating, knowing each other, learning, studying Infected Rain with little videos that we still had at the time in 2013. It was amazing. I wouldn't change, wouldn't for nothing.
Thanks, Lena.
Of
Thank
course.
you. That's a very nice answer. But I knew when I knew the energy was right for us to work together. And you were all the way from Moldova. That was like a commute. And it's not that I just knew that you were a winner. And I knew that you were going to I'm in this to be useful to people. I am not in this for the money. I swear. Money does not make me happy. Okay.
I can confirm that. Melissa gave me a break so many times, and I'm sure she does that with a lot of people, but every effort, every job has to be paid. So don't take for granted the realness and the kindness of people. Don't do that, because that's the bigger mistake a lot of people do. Nobody owes you anything. So make sure you learn, and everything is going to be fine. Be you, be genuine. Me and Melissa, we are friends since then. She gave me her own phone number saying, I don't know if I'm going to see you, but if you ever need problems, if you ever need help with any problems, if you're on tour, call me anytime, any day. And when she did that, I think I called you like after 5 years or something. I never dared to use the personal phone number for the first time. I had other exercises and everything, but just having that reinsurance that I have a help if I only need it. I have a person to reach out. It's good. It's good to have that reinsurance.
So thank you. But I tried to make myself available as much as I can. But as time went on, things got more and more people wanted in. And so then that's for business, like the price goes up. But that's why I made the classes, because it got so out of touch with like the sort of economy of metal. Yes. That I became too expensive. But these classes, it's everything I know. Everything I know. It's 13 hours of class, and it's 500% cheaper, because it works out to be like less than $30 an hour.
Yeah.
And you learn everything.
And the knowledge Melissa shares is priceless. And do yourself a favor, put some money aside and do yourself this big gift, because hey, you know how I did my exercises with Melissa? It was like a gift from my own birthday. It was a year where I was dedicating to myself. It was when I visited America for the first time, and I saved money for that. We find excuses, but we work. You work hard. So do yourself a favor and spend those money for you, for yourself, to your own good. You will never regret that.
That's right. You won't regret spending money to make yourself more useful to the world.
Absolutely. Because we need metal. We need good singers.
Absolutely. We do. With this genre, needs to survive. And in order for it to survive, the voices have to survive.
Yes.
That's my service to the world.
Melissa is the savior, the nurse.
It's the Florence Nightingale of metal.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody, for the amazing questions. Thank you, Khalil, for your help. And absolutely, thank you, Melissa, for your time, for your smile. I'm recharged. I can go through another week.
Me too. Me too. And thank you, Khalil. This is my assistant, Khalil. He is an awesome vocalist in his own right. And he is
super young too. So
very young, and he is definitely a contender. So watch out for this dude. And if you ever need anything from me, he's probably going to be the one that gets to you first. I'll be there eventually.
Nice. Well, I'm very happy for you to have Khalil and people that can help you, because I know that this can be overwhelming, and a lot of questions, a lot of technology things. I don't know technology. If it wasn't for Khalil, I don't even know how to turn on my camera.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time. We'll do it again. Okay.
Bye. Thank you for everybody who
missed it.
It's going to be on the YouTube channel. Bye.
Be safe. Bye.
Thank you, Melissa.
Be loving. Bye.